係咁先。
Photo call to start with.
係各位攝影記者。
Are you all done?
係咁，我哋而家開始咁。大家 OK 啦嘛？咁而家
Are you all done? We'll start. Bureau Directors, please be seated. First, we will hear from the Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Designate, Mr. Eric Zhang. Members of the Hong Kong public, friends from the media, good afternoon. First of all, I feel honored and I'm grateful for the nomination and trust of the Chief Executive-elect. I am appointed as the Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs of the 6th term of the government. I'm sure you know very well that in the past few years, Hong Kong has gone through unprecedented political storm, and there was rampant black-clad violence. On top of that, there was the global pandemic. We have been seriously affected in terms of our lives and our economic development. Thankfully, we have the support of our country. At the most difficult time, there was the promulgation of the national security law. Our electoral systems have been improved. After 3 important elections, we now have full implementation of patriots administering Hong Kong. The new chief executive and his team have been returned and appointed. I'm sure that with the staunch support of the government and the strong leadership of the chief executive-elect, as well as the dedication of the governing team, with the support and cooperation of everyone in our society, we will be able to overcome any difficulties. There will be a new chapter of good governance. We will be pragmatic and work for the welfare of Hong Kong and Hong Kong people so that we can steadfastly and successfully implement one country, 2 systems to achieve long-term prosperity of Hong Kong. We'll work together to start a new chapter for Hong Kong. Thank you. Please be seated. We'll now hear from the Secretary for Security Designate, Mr. Chris Tang. Members of the Hong Kong public, friends from the media, good afternoon. I feel very honored to be able to continue to serve as the Secretary for Security. I'd like to thank the CPG as well as the CE-elect Mr. John Lee for their trust. In the coming days, I will work with my team to safeguard Hong Kong's overall security as well as our national security. It's only with security that we can have a safe and steady life. It's only with that we can improve our livelihood and our economic development to continue. It's our natural duty to safeguard life and limb. We'll work with the police to preserve order public order, will work with government flying service as well as the various discipline services to provide a safer community for everyone here in Hong Kong. The Immigration Department will provide assistance to Hong Kong people in distress overseas. Apart from law enforcement, our discipline services will provide better service to Hong Kong people. That includes improved policies to facilitate people coming to Hong Kong. We will make good use of technology to streamline customs clearance and to facilitate commerce and business. Our Correctional Services Department will continue to provide quality service to inmates as well as to help delinquent juvenile to turn a new leaf. We will provide better service by making use of technology. Say for example, in terms of electronic submission of applications. I, myself, and the discipline services under me and my team to work very hard to protect Hong Kong so that there will be steadfast and successful implementation of one country, two systems. Thank you.
Please be seated. Secretary for Environment and the Ecology, Mr. Jie. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really honored to be appointed by the CPG as the Secretary for Environment and Ecology. I'm grateful to the CE-elect for his trust and nomination. Hong Kong has a more stable political climate, which will enable us to deal with the issues of concern and to improve the livelihood. The new Bureau has amalgamated environment and ecology, food, health, and egg and fish areas, and we can achieve a better synergy and to enhance the environmental hygiene and also the general environment of Hong Kong. And I will listen to public views with modesty, and I'll be listening to Ecology and the public, and we will work together to achieve carbon neutrality and to create a new chapter for Hong Kong's environment and ecology. Thank you. Thanks very much. Mr. Jay, please be seated. I'd like to invite Professor Lo Chung Mao, Secretary for Health. Fellow citizens, friends of the media, I am honored to be joining the new governing team to serve the people of Hong Kong and the nation. This is one of the most honorable chapters in my life. I'm grateful to the CPG and the Chief Executive-elect for their trust in me. All along, Hong Kong has been enjoying a really high level of quality of healthcare. A lot of our indices are leading the world. We have the highest longevity the world over. But faced with the aging population, advancing technology, and COVID, we are facing tremendous challenges. Hong Kong should move ahead with reforms before we can safeguard the public health and also to enhance all the indices to do with the public well-being. As the Secretary for Health designate, I do have three missions. First, we have to have evidence-based anti-pandemic measures and to connect Hong Kong with the mainland. and we do have sophisticated anti-pandemic measures, we should achieve the best possible results with less. Second, we have to optimize the system to make sure that people will be able to have medical attention when they are sick. And we need to provide a multi-directional and comprehensive range of services. We have to enhance the quality in this regard. Third, we have to venture out of Hong Kong and take the profession into the GBA, and we have to enhance the training and management and biomedical science. We have to leverage our advantage and to promote integration between Hong Kong and the GBA. I hope that the medical sector will stay united and the members of the public will throw their support behind us, and we have to create a healthy Hong Kong with concerted efforts and to be integrated into the mainland. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Professor Lo. Please be seated. We'll now hear from Secretary for Education Designate Dr. Choi Yuk Lin. Members of the public, friends from the media, good afternoon. I thank the Chief Executive-elect and the CPG for their trust so that I have the opportunity to serve in my new role so that I can continue to serve students, schools, as well as our country. Education is very important to our civilization and our future. Education to me is not just a career, it is also an aspiration. The world's changing very rapidly, so is technology. In order to respond swiftly, we have to equip our younger generation with knowledge and skills. We also need to create the right values for them so that they will feel a sense of belonging and they will be patriotic. I will make use of our team to create a suitable environment for students and pave the way for lifelong learning. The CE-elect talked about the objective to equip our younger generation. They will make use of STEAM education, and they will seize all the opportunities, say for example in terms of the Greater Bay Area, to create a bigger world for our younger generation. I will work with my team for students in our primary school, secondary school, tertiary education institutes, as well as pre-education. We will also strengthen our liaison with different stakeholders so that we will continue to improve on our education. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please be seated. We'll now hear from the Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs, Ms. Alice Mack. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the CPG and the CE-elect for their trust. I thank them for their nomination and appointment as the Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs. I feel honored, and I also feel the weight of the obligation. I'd like to thank everyone who have worked with me over the years. Since I've started my work in a public capacity, I've been talking to members of the public. I do believe in serving the public. I will continue to work and communicate with different stakeholders. I will bring people together in order to find a solution, in order to build a harmonious and loving society. I do believe that there is high expectation of the new Home and Youth Affairs Bureau. Youth affairs is a key area of work. I will take stock of our youth policies. I will work with different practitioners of different areas. I will give our youngsters hope. I will work with my team and to implement the different work set out in the Chief Executive Elect's manifest. Once again, I thank the trust of the CPG as well as that of the CE-elect. And I thank my comrades working with me over the years. We will continue to work together to make Hong Kong a home where everyone is happy. Thank you. Please be seated.
任勞工
Now, Mr. Christian, Secretary for Labour and Welfare, please. Fellow citizens, friends of the media, I am honored to be nominated by the CE-elect and appointed by the CPG as the Secretary for Labour and Welfare. Since university graduation, I joined the Hong Kong government to serve the society. 28 years on, I've been involved with labour, healthcare, finance, home affairs, public finance, and civil service. I've covered all these different portfolios, and I've built up my experience in public administration, and I have been working very hard to train myself up. And I joined the new governing team to take up the labour and welfare portfolio, and I know how onerous the task is going to be. The public do pin very high hope on this area of work. They expect us to be committed and to deal with the deep-seated problems and to deliver sound governance. Labour and welfare have to do with the public livelihood. Once I assume my post, I would be holding fast to the result-oriented principle as espoused by the Chief Executive-elect, and I will be listening to the sentiments of the public in this area. I fully understand that working in isolation would have very limited ability. If we can work together, we will be able to find solutions to all manner of issues. I will constantly remind myself that we have to bear in mind the public sentiments and try to formulate policies accordingly. And in the days to come, I'm going to face a tremendous workload, but I will try my very best. Thank you very much, Mr. Sun. Please be seated. It's now time for questions. Please identify the organizations you represent. Please confine yourselves to one single question. The one over there, please. Commercial radio. This is for Professor Lo Chung Mao. Do you think that we need to have a universal COVID testing? And do we have to have any lockdown? If not, why not? Universal testing would involve considerable resources. And under the national PCR testing policy, it states that PCR test is very important, but for a large-scale test like this, there is a time frame. I think we need to have cross-departmental policy consideration. We have to go by the data. For universal testing, it would normally be undertaken at the beginning of a pandemic or at the end of the pandemic, and we universally test the citizens to identify the remaining infected people. I think we do need to have cross-departmental study based on the data.
右手邊前
On my right in the third row, a gentleman with a tie. Professor Lo, I'd like to ask a follow-up question. The first question you need to deal with is anti-epidemic efforts. What do you think could have been done better by the current government in relation to universal testing? Well, with the experience of the Hong Kong Shenzhen hospital, do you think that you can adopt the same approach in Hong Kong? Do you have any objective data to tell us whether Hong Kong is suitable for universal testing? And I'd also like to ask about boundary opening. Do you have the confidence to achieve quarantine-free travel across the border with Mainland as well as the rest of the world? Do I have to answer all three questions? Yes, but please limit your number of questions to one. The epidemic and efforts to fight it are issues close to everyone's heart. Every place has their own policies taking into account their respective situation. Well, when I worked in the Hong Kong Shenzhen hospital, as I've said, that we would bring Hong Kong's good practice to Shenzhen, and at the same time we will need to integrate with them. As to what policies can be applied to Hong Kong, we need to look at data as well as coordination with different departments. So I'm not going to say that all Mainland policies can be applied in Hong Kong instantly. We need time to look into it before we make a decision. Next question. The gentleman with spectacles. I'm from Hong Kong Economic Times. I'd like to ask Professor Low. Mr. John Lee said that there was some transitional work with the current government. Were you involved? And now there is a sign of an increase in number of cases. Do you think there is a need to tighten measures? This morning, Mrs. Lam said that the time frame for making a decision to connect with the rest of the world is the window is getting tighter. And what do you think about opening the border with the rest of the world? We need to look at data and conduct analysis in relation to anti-epidemic data. We need to gather and collect more data. And this is not just the work of one bureau. It involves different bureaus. We need to conduct a study before making a decision. Bear in mind that the epidemic situation is changing all the time. So are anti-epidemic measures in different places. And you need to just feel your way forward. Opening the border with the Mainland as well as the rest of the world. Of course, this is a livelihood issue, an economic issue, and it also is an issue that impacts upon different families. We will do our best. And as to what border will be opened earlier, I think we need to consider relevant data first. Professor Low has already answered 3 questions. Any questions for the others? The lady at the back.
Question for Ms. Mack. Being a new minister, incoming minister for a new position, what are the key performance indicators you set, especially for youth services? Thank you.
As I said in my opening remarks, that youth matters. So we will focus on youth work, and I will work closely with all sectors in the society and community to develop youth policies that our young people can see hope and opportunities. After July 1st, I will discuss with my team to formulate constructive and practical youth policies. And especially, our major task is to develop the Youth Development Blueprint as stated in the Chief Executive-elect's manifesto.
Okay. 嗰面嗰個位。
The gentleman in the grey top in the middle. I'm from Now TV. I have a question for Ms. Mack. Well, you were a legislator, and now you're a bureau secretary. Will you leave your party? And there are some academics who said that you're not very welcome amongst youngsters, and they don't rate you very highly, especially after the anti-extradition bill incident. Well, do you have any plans to improve your relationship with youngsters to gain their trust? First, I'll answer about my political affiliation. I was the deputy head of the FTU this morning. I handed in my resignation to the LegCo as well as the FTU. However, I'm still a member of the FTU. Well, anyone can become a member of the FTU. Regarding communications with the youth, this definitely is a key area of work of the new government. We will communicate with practitioners of different areas. I hope that we will put our differences down. We should all work for the good and welfare of youngsters. We need to be inclusive. We need to be willing to listen to people with different opinions. I'm very willing to reach out to our youths. After the announcement of the appointment by the State Council, I've been receiving messages from my friends. They've congratulated me and they've expressed to me their expectations. Many of them are from the youth sector. I will work with different sectors. Regardless of our stance, I'm sure there is a common ground for us. We want to give hope to our youngsters. I think that we will be able to do that.
後邊黑
Any other questions for other secretaries? The one in black face mask. Hong Kong Economic Journal. A question for Ms. Alice Mack. In terms of district administration reform, what is your view? Do you see the desirability of keeping the district councils? Starting from 1993, I've been taking part in the district council work. I know about the district work very well. I do understand very well the district sentiments. I hope that once I assumed the post, together with our team, we will be doing a good job of district administration so that all the burning issues will get resolved and all the voices will get listened to. As to the role and function of the district councils, there are diverse views in the community. Like I will be, like my team, I will be getting in touch with the district, and we will consider how best we can do a better job of district administration. We have only one single objective, and that is people will have a sense of belonging, they will have a sense of gain, and they will have a decent life in the community. Let's make it the last question for this round. Gentleman over there, please. This question is for Alice. RTHK. In the FTU, you've been very concerned about the labor issues. Now you're going to become the Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs Bureau. Is it your first choice? Have you ever considered being appointed as the Secretary for Labor and Welfare? Now you become the SHY. Is it really a mismatch with your abilities? How are you going to address the issue of the issue? Right, as I said, I started becoming a district councillor in 1993. Earlier than that, in 1988, I was a youth ambassador in the district. So in terms of youth work, I am not, like you say, only conversant with the labor issues. And the FTU has been doing a lot of work to fight for a better deal for the young people. Now, in terms of the women's work, youth work, I've always been taking part in those. So for me to become the secretary for this new bureau, I think it is a suitable choice. And I hope that we will be able to achieve our objective and make sure that every single citizen would have a good life and a sense of gain. Professor. Well, for those who leave their posts, they leave for different reasons. I don't really want to single out anybody and talk about the reason why they leave their posts. But as a doctor, as a professional, I want to say to the healthcare workers in Hong Kong that as healthcare workers, our fundamental intention is to help the patients. I hope that the health workers in Hong Kong, whatever capacity that they are in, they have to keep this original intent. They have to be professional, and they should have the well-being of the patients uppermost in their mind. For those who are serving in the public sector, they can help more patients, but it doesn't mean to say that those who are working in the private sector are making no contribution. We are working in tandem to maintain the public sector healthcare system. I hope that more young doctors will stay a little bit longer in the public sector and serve the members of the public more. That's the end of this session. Will the secretaries please vacate the stage?
咁稍後會有第四。
We're going to move on to the fourth round.